Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a special edition, special episode here of Steve's Wrestling Ramble here on Saturday night. Um, Wanted to come up here before even doing one during the week. I was planning to do one on Tuesday, but with the big news about Seth Rollins, I did talk about it last night on Main Event Marks. Check out their channel here on YouTube. It should be on the right side of if you go to my channel, if you're already subscribed or one of my new subscribers. There, it's right there. The channel. You can click on that shortcut and subscribe to them and check out the content that's sitting there. But as discussed there last night, and will be discussed here on my own show, Steve's Wrestling Ramble. Seth Rollins' injury, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the situation there, what I think, how WWE should do this whole tournament thing, who should win it, who should even be part of it, and everything in between. And the show is called Steve's Wrestling Ramble. Ramble is part of the namesake for a reason. I can go off topic and can ramble about anything about pro wrestling and WWE, and it's the place to be then to listen to WWE news and like I said, rambling and going to different directions. Thinking outside the box, thinking ways that others might have thought. Whether you agree or disagree, either way, it makes for an entertaining episode and entertaining dialogue. For those that want to, in the comment section below, or even on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at WB_podcast. We could talk all things WWE. Join in the conversation. And welcome to like this video. Obviously, it's a WWE fan, or just enjoy it, or liking it for the content of the video. Either way, greatly appreciate it. But as I said, I wanted to talk about Seth Rollins and this injury being out 6 to 9 months, as I heard most. Most say. It's too bad. It's inconvenient and very bad timing. Looking at it on the side of the WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, just because it goes back to the whole conversation of how the WWE universe, us fans, want the WWE to actually push their stars, push the mid-carders like Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose, others, and now Alberto Del Rio, who's back and holds a mid-card title, United States champion. And push those WWE superstars and then have at least push them to the point that if something like this happens, because things happen, it's pro wrestling as much as it is scripted. It still is wrestling. It still takes athletic ability to do what they do. That things happen. People get injured, whether it's really serious, career-ending, or just something that's minor, and they just need to take a few days rest or an ice bath or whatever they need for that said injury. So whatever the scale of severity it is, things happen, stuff happens, and that's why WWE, as the business it is, with the people, on the top of the WWE, Paul Triple H, the back, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and others, they know what they're doing, but they should also know and realize that they need to push those other stars, or at least begin to, in some way, so when this type of stuff happens, they have superstars there that they can go to and say, hey, now, this is your time a little bit. This is, your opportunity. Whether that's a Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, whatever. But Bray Wyatt won't be one of them because Bray Wyatt, as a character and just in storyline that he's already in anyways with The Undertaker and Kane here moving into Survivor Series, won't be that one. He won't be the next WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He won't even be in a tournament. I mean, technically he could be. He could be in a qualifying match. He just loses on Raw. He could be on one of the qualifying matches if they do it that way on Raw. I would rather it be like the Deadly Games tournament, Survivor Series 1998, back in the heyday of the Attitude Era, heyday of my childhood, heyday of whatever, when they had that tournament, Survivor Series, to crown a new WWE champion, and the winner of that tournament was The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And now fast forward to many years here into 2015. Who could win it now? Who's the odds-on favorite now after Seth Rollins' injury? is his cousin and obviously Samoan family member Roman Reigns. So you never know. History could rewrite itself in that kind of way. But in that way, talking about the Deadly Games tournament, that's kind of how I would want this tournament to be. I would want it to be fully on the WWE Network at the pay-per-view and all matches there. I would want it and would like it to maybe have 10, 12. I wish they could have 16 superstars as part of it, but it's not going to be anywhere near there. As much as I would want that, it's not going to be that because obviously the other superstars are in their own feuds. And you just can't pluck any superstar that might be in lower mid-card, like a Bo Dallas, Zack Ryder, Heath Slater, to be in this WWE World Heavyweight Championship tournament, just because you want to have more bodies to be part of the tournament, more than the nice round number of 8. That would be the most likely of how WWE would go with this, to have 8 superstars in the tournament, because then you can easily cut it down. Excuse me, 8 to 4, 4 to 2. And then you still would have enough time in a 3-hour pay-per-view that you have your other matches, tag team title match with the New Day and the Dudley Boys probably. You have Divas title match, Paige and Charlotte. Then you have the Survivor Series, traditional Survivor Series match itself that you have on there. Because right now, with Seth Rollins' injury, with the bad timing, with everything, the Survivor Series match itself, the one that's supposed to, be part of this, celebrating 25 years of The Undertaker, he debuted at Survivor Series, all that stuff, kind of overshadowing that in a way, because more, eyeballs are be tuned to the WWE Network and the pay-per-view because of this tournament. And maybe in a roundabout good way, that is good for the WWE. You get more people that are actually going to watch the pay-per-view now. You get, more eyeballs, more people, maybe even more people and new people to subscribe to your network, to the WWE Network. So in however way you slice and dice and think that could be a blessing in disguise, as I always try to live by, everything happens for a reason and live life to the fullest. Well, in this situation, it's more everything happens for a reason, just like everything happened with me in a different situation that I won't obviously bring up on air because that would be unprofessional and disrespectful to the person that's about. But because of said situation, I now get to have, or plan to now have, my show weekly again. I kind of wanted to do this in the last couple of weeks, actually. I was thinking about it. I kind of want to get it back kind of on the track, so to speak, trying to actually promote it, trying to actually have it become popular just as much as my NFL one that I now do weekly. And since I do that one every Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Central, live here on my YouTube channel through Google Hangouts, that here for Steve's Wrestling Ramble, I can do it weekly and try to build up its credibility as much as I'm trying to build up Talking Packers with Steve's credibility. And obviously in the totality of it, build up the rep of my channel and having it grow, and this becoming my job because I love what I do here. Is it work? Yes. Would it become work? Yes. You have to work hard to gain those subscribers, to keep those subscribers, to keep them entertained each and every episode of either my podcast or any other videos I do, whether I'm talking about Gravity Falls or whatnot. But I want to be consistent. I want to be consistent. You know what? I want to be consistently dedicated. I know a YouTuber, actually, a friend of mine, an amigo. I haven't really talked much with him actually recently. But Sean of Sean's View Entertainment, he always starts his videos with saying he's the most consistent, prolific, and dedicated uploader in YouTube history. But for me, I just want to be consistently dedicated and being entertaining, being interesting. So in that route, that's what I want for my podcast. And like I said, I love what I do, and that's why I hope to have these shows grow, to then have the audience to interact with, to talk with, because that's the best part. Fellow WWE fans of all ages, races, backgrounds, whatever, talking WWE on a weekly basis. And that's why actually when I do start my weekly episodic episodes, I do plan to maybe at least for the first 2 weeks. I don't know. I mean, you gotta also be careful with doing that too, but do plan to share the link of the Hangout to the episode. But it is what it is, right? And you just hope that it can go. Hope that things can happen, and we go from there. But back on the topic, Seth Rollins WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I think the 8 people that should be in the tournament, if it does go with 8, if it does go with just simply 8 WWE superstars in the tournament. Hold on, actually, I gotta do something. But the 8 superstars I'm sorry about that. But the 8 superstars that I would have in this tournament for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship would be as follows: Dean Ambrose, obviously. He is my favorite current WWE superstar. Roman Reigns, odds-on choice to win the whole gosh darn thing. Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Cesaro, Alberto Del Rio, KO, Kevin Owens. Excuse me. Maybe even I would think maybe bringing back Brock Lesnar. Maybe Randy Orton. You never know. He could come back quickly. Oh, and last but not least, John Cena. John Cena, you can just put him out and put him into this tournament however you want. But I don't see any really others to be part of that. I don't. And another thing, back to the Seth Rollins injury, and talking about that, it's just too bad the way he got injured, and in the match that he was facing Kane, doing a spot to put him through the table, at a live event in Ireland. Why would have that type of match? And I think with the style of Seth Rollins and him trying to prove himself, here early in his career, and singles push and everything, kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like Triple H in a way, at least when he was coming up the ranks himself, when he was with the McMahon Hemsley era and all that other stuff there in the Attitude Era, or post-Attitude Era, whenever that specifically was. When he tore his quad, was out for a long time. Came back, I believe, around the Royal Rumble. Won the Royal Rumble, won the championship at some point in the future, and never stopped. Never looked back. Now, could that be the same situation for Seth Rollins? Could he be able to make his way back, be back even earlier than expected? Maybe. And that's what he has to focus on. Working hard, doing whatever rehab stuff he has to do, and get back to health, and I hope he does. He's a great ring performer. One of the top heels. But you don't want to rush it either. That's what they did with Daniel Bryan, and now he's back on the shelf. He might even have to retire. Who knows? So hopefully he, thinks smart enough about that and not trying to rush himself, because he's worried about his spot, worried about going down the totem pole of other superstars. Go behind and not being where he is or was. And I don't mean just WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I just mean in the picture of being main eventer. I don't think that would be the case, but I can understand the worry. I mean, this is 2015. not the Attitude Era, not the time when Triple H was going through his situation and his injury and rehabilitation. This is more of a what have you done for me lately kind of thinking. The WWE and maybe after so long that he won't. People not like people won't care. He just won't be looked at the level that he was before. Because now, almost even just with one injury, but an injury like the one he has, torn MCL, ACL, meniscus as well, that he could be branded injury prone, and they might not even have him become the champion in it ever again. Yeah, like I said, you hope he can come back. You hope he can be competing. But like I said, the longer you're out, the less and less the WWE Universe remembers you. That's too bad because that's also in the same predicament as Tyson Kidd. That kid's injury is so bad that he himself might have to retire. Now, he wasn't at the level of Seth Rollins, obviously, but at least an in-ring competitor kind of notion he was. Just think about it, if you had a Tyson Kidd versus Seth Rollins match before their injuries, obviously, it could be a 4 or 5 star match, in my opinion, so it's just too bad. And like I said, it's just terrible timing for WWE, and that's why we all go back, always go, or at least I do, always go back to thinking that's why you need to build your other superstars. You need to see what they're made of, and they didn't do that, and now they're in a pickle. Now who are they going to have to be the champion? You just can't flip a coin and pick, because not only has this messed up the situation for Survivor Series and the planning, and I'm sure WWE Creative, I would actually hate to be one of the writers right now, having to scramble. I mean, it was hard enough just to create a plan to Survivor Series with Seth Rollins in the mix. Now he's out of the mix. Now you have to create new storylines and create think of who you think and should be the WWE champion. Do you want someone just to be a placeholder? Do you want someone just to win it for a couple of seconds and have Sheamus cash in? Because if that's the case, you could have Big Show or Kane win the titles. I'm sorry to say this, but you could, and have Sheamus cash in, and you move from there. And then you book it. Roman Reigns going to win the title at WrestleMania, because then Sheamus has that both in heel hate. Then might WWE trying to make Roman Reigns consigned to the WWE Universe, whether it's going to work or not, but that could be the possibility in the thinking. Then you have Roman Reigns defeat Sheamus at WrestleMania. And it could be a situation where Dean Ambrose wins the Royal Rumble and makes it like a triple threat, which was supposed to be a Shields triple threat, which is one of the things I was predicting to happen for WrestleMania 32 there in Texas. Oh, and by the way, about my doing episodes every week, that's going to start the next week, not this upcoming week, because I'm doing one tonight, the special episode here on Saturday. But we go through next week, and then the week after that, I'll be doing episodes every week. I think on Tuesdays. I believe it'll be Tuesdays, unless maybe I can do it Saturdays and just have a whole general recap of everything, Raw news, Raw review news and everything. But then again, that'd be super late for a Raw review. So however I do it, whether it's going to be just Monday night Raw reviews or Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday morning or afternoon Raw reviews. However, this show will be back weekly. Now that I have the availability to do so. So that's kind of cool. But like I said, I would want it to be Dean Ambrose. But if it's just going to be a temporary thing, then maybe not. Maybe not pulling the trigger, because I think whenever Dean Ambrose gets a title reign, he deserves to have a long reign, worthy that he deserves, that he's earned, quite honestly. And we'll see if he does get that. If he ever does actually gain the championship, I think he will. I don't know. I'm gonna be cheering for Dean, but I'm gonna be wondering, how is everything gonna be written out? Because like I said, WWE Creative now has to not only scramble for booking and planning for Survivor Series, but booking and planning things all the way into WrestleMania and maybe even beyond WrestleMania. Like this injury impacted plans of WWE all the way to WrestleMania and maybe even beyond. That's how big it was. Because it's, because it just does. It's just, Seth Rollins was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Is your main champion being out for that long? I mean, let's just think about it this way. Let's say he got injured in the same spot, there in the match there in Dublin, Ireland against Kane. But it wasn't anything serious. Let's say he would only be out 1 to 3 weeks, maybe even at the max 1 to 3 months. Then WWE could think maybe we could get a title on him. Maybe. That's still not for certain, but maybe. Then they wouldn't have to change too much. They would just have to change little things. But I'm gonna predict and think that it's gonna be Roman Reigns, and I'm really actually excited to watch Raw, this upcoming Raw. I really do. I really am, because I want to see what, if anything, new is broached on the subject of this tournament. Who's gonna be in it? How the format's gonna work? How they're gonna have qualifying matches on Raw? Will the whole thing just be at Survivor Series, and they already just say who's in it? Because as much as qualifying matches are cool, and as much as they do it for the Royal Rumble, I guess, in a way, or however, you already know the outcome in a way. You just do. So why have them? Just announce you're gonna have the tournament. You don't have to call it the Deadly Games tournament, because that was 1998. This is different. This is a tournament here in 2015 to find out who is going to be the next WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And I think the best way to do it is just to simply say who's in it. Announce who's in it. Say it's going to be, throughout the whole pay-per-view of Survivor Series, and go from there. I don't know. That's just how I would do it. I mean, I would love it to be 10 plus superstars, but that's not going to be the case. So if it is going to be the 8, you just have it all at the pay-per-view, because you'll get more people interested, more people will be watching. You won't even need to have any qualifying matches. You just have the tournament Survivor Series, and you crown a new champion there at the end. But then again, will it be at the end? Because now, with the Seth Rollins injury, when Seth Rollins was there, you had Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns 1-on-1 for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And the fact that Survivor Series is, and it still is, centered around 25 years of The Undertaker. A special mark for The Undertaker, he debuted on Survivor Series, all that other stuff, like I said earlier in this special episode. It wouldn't have needed to be the main event, title match, which also then would have known, when you're doing predictions, as I will be doing when we get to the week of Survivor Series, my predictions. But then when you get to that point, you're just thinking, no, that maybe Seth Rollins will successfully defend the title. But now with this tournament, now with the intrigue and the interest by the WWE Universe, at least I would hope there's interest in it, because it's a freaking tournament. I'm not saying there isn't anybody. Okay? So if you don't like tournaments, I respect you. I respect your opinion. I just am saying it this way because it just seems like most would like tournaments. Most would like tournaments, like, I don't know, playoffs, the NBA playoffs, the NBA finals, to whatever, regular tournaments. March Madness, that's a huge tournament. Obviously, every March. College basketball. So, I would say there's a lower percent, there's a minority of people that do not like tournaments, and let's say, specifically here at WWE. But to me, they're very intriguing. They're very cool. That's why I always liked King of the Ring. Back when it was a pay-per-view, and the few times they brought it back. yeah, I understand why people don't like it, because at least in the last few years when they brought it back, they haven't really done anything to push the superstars that actually won it. That's on WWE Creative. That's on whoever's in charge of booking. That is their problem. But the concept and the idea itself, the King of the Ring, and other tournaments, even other tournament-like style kind of matches, as in the unpredictability, like the Elimination Chamber match. It's not a tournament, but you have the chaos and the unpredictability, at least in my opinion, of the superstars that you have in that match, whether it's a title match or not, whatever. But that chamber match, people coming in randomly, whatever order, or at least it's supposed to be random. I mean, you still have to book a show, but you know what I mean. At least to the W audience and the W universe, that there's that kind of interest. So to me, I love tournaments, and I look forward to seeing how this tournament goes in Survivor Series, and obviously I will be watching Survivor Series, whether I had this podcast and a part of the other podcast, Main Event Marks, or not, if I wasn't part of either, my own or the other one. So because like I said, I love tournaments, I'm gonna enjoy it and see how this thing unfolds. Whether it goes about it being predictable, I don't care. I don't care if it goes predictable and Roman Reigns is the one who wins. Fine, he won. He's the new champion. Okay, where do we go from here? Sort of, that would be my mentality, because I would still enjoy the ride. I would still enjoy Survivor Series, seeing how everything played out, and all the other matches, and whoever he would face in the finals, whether it is my guy Dean Ambrose or something, or whatever, or by hook or by crook, maybe it's Kevin Owens in the finals facing Roman Reigns, and Reigns squeaks out a victory and becomes the champion. However, it will be interesting. So whether it's predictable and it's Roman Reigns, or it's way out of left field and it's my guy, let's say Dean Ambrose or a Cesaro, or even a Kevin Owens, for God's sakes. No disrespect to Kevin Owens, I'm a big fan of his, but I don't think he's ready, and I don't think WWE's ready to pull the trigger to having him WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Not quite yet. Not quite. So, but if they did do that and have one of those three superstars being crowned WWE World Heavyweight Champion, that would also be interesting. Now, most fans would say that the latter of having the unpredictability, having the kind of the underdogs win it, and the so-called automatic, the predictable one to be, the Roman Reigns side. I understand that too, but we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how everything happens. But like I said, that's why I'm interested in seeing how Raw goes on Monday. That's why I'm kind of excited, looking forward to it. See if everything's actually announced in the opening segment, because it should be. And finding out what the plans are for Survivor Series and how this tournament is going to be run. But obviously the main thing, is for Seth Rollins, and I hope, that he can get healthy, rest up, and not rush yourself back. Get back when you can, because we don't need another Daniel Bryan situation where he's rushed back, or he wants to be back so bad and then he gets injured again. And then he's really labeled injury prone, and I don't think, even if, I know there was another person that someone was thinking of to have in this tournament, and I respect your opinion, because hey, you never know. But I don't see Daniel Bryan being one of the 8 superstars in this tournament, or however many there's going to be. I don't see that happening. I'm sorry. In my opinion, I think it's more likely that Daniel Bryan is going to be retiring, whether forced retired or he actually begrudgingly agrees to it from WWE. I just see that more likely than the latter of him coming back and being crowned champion of this turn, or him coming back at all, period. For whatever storylines or plans WWE would have for him. I just see him being better off this way, being better off retired. Maybe he doesn't want to be a trainer, but maybe he can still be like a spokesman for WWE, doing the traveling. Maybe writing more books, doing book tours, just being an ambassador for WWE. He'd still make a good living, and would still be part of the WWE brand. even though he wouldn't be doing what he loves, which is wrestling. But he would still be in sports entertainment. He would still be part of WWE, and that in itself is great. But that's Daniel Bryan. That's Daniel Bryan's situation. We're talking about here about Seth Rollins, a totally different beast, a totally different situation in a way between Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins. Because Seth Rollins is going to be coming back. Daniel Bryan, we don't know. We just don't know. But hey, maybe he does. Maybe he shocks us all and he comes back as Survivor Series and is part of this tournament.
What's up, Copleen?
How you doing, Cooter?
Sorry I'm late. I just got home, buddy.
That's right. How you doing this evening?
Ugh, I'm a little tired. I work like a slave today, but you know what? We got to make that F money, as Virgil likes to say, my friend, don't we?
Yes, yes. You gotta work hard so you can play hard.
Gosh darn right. Yes, you do. So what are we talking about here, brother?
The story of the week, the story of the moment, Seth Rollins and his injury. I know we talked about it last night on your show,
Mm-hmm.
but I just want to get your thoughts generally again, and anything that maybe you forgot to say last night that you wanted to say on the Seth Rollins and title situation.
I'll reiterate what I said last night. I don't think we're gonna get what everyone's expecting. I don't see Roman Reigns winning the belt, and I don't see Sheamus cashing in. I think they have to throw us a swerve. There's a chance for them to get a fresh start. Um, Again, yesterday I said, I hate to see somebody get injured, but it's a shame it didn't happen. Royal Rumble season, we could have had another '92 Royal Rumble incident, like for the belt. Um, I, I agree with you. I do believe you did name drop DB. I believe he is going to be in this tournament, but I think they're going to go in a direction that we kind of sort of had an idea was going to happen. We all saw, or we all seem to think we're going to see a Dean Ambrose heel turn. Um, I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to pull that card and not, and not put the belt on Reigns right away because, again, I think they're going to wait and do that slow burn and wait to maybe drop it to him at Mania or maybe even a little bit later. You want to know my problem with Roman Reigns?
What's that?
LPH said this on our show. I think it was last week, but he said he's being booked terribly, and he should be booked more like Goldberg. And I agree with that, just in a sense where I was actually thinking about this today while I was working, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, we haven't had a legit badass that the fans could get behind, and I don't think Vince wants to go that route because he has a feeling like the badasses can't get over, and it won't be, how do you want to say this, kid friendly. But I disagree with that. I mean, there's a lot of badasses in pop culture who are popular with kids. So I'll give you an example. Batman, a classic example. Biggest badass in the DC universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a loner. He's a bad MFer. And let me tell you something. Kids love Batman. So why can't we have, you know, I don't want to do the Steve Austin anti-authority thing, but I mean, let's give this guy an edge. Let's not let him talk so much. Let's just let him beat people up and not put the belt on him because that's what people are expecting you to do. I think the problem is when people are expecting you to do something, that's when they like, ugh, trick the marks.
Yeah, that's understandable. But there's also I've seen either in the Marks group or just on Twitter with interactions with my with me on Twitter about people thinking that maybe it could be kind of a double turn with the Authority and Reigns becoming a member of the Authority and winning the title with the help of Triple H, going back to again another Plan B. You can put as with the storyline, however it dictates, and have that being the Plan B since Seth Rollins is injured and out, that they have a new man and guy. And then when Seth Rollins comes back, not only obviously would he get a rematch and all that other stuff, but now he'd be feuding against the Authority and he'd be turned himself face. So the double turning of, you have Roman Reigns the one turning heel and not Dean Ambrose. You have Dean Ambrose staying the face, and chasing, because I think, and kind of already, making my known, that I think Dean could be winning the Royal Rumble in 2016. Maybe that could happen. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's a possibility that Reigns could join the Authority and be with Triple H when all is said and done at the end of Survivor Series?
I think it's a very good possibility, but I also think it's a very good possibility for Ambrose to do that. I mean, it could go either way. I mean, they've both been very anti-authority, so I think the shock value would be equal if one of them were to turn and go authority. I also think maybe a little bit more Ambrose because Reigns hasn't really feuded with the authority. I mean, he's worked his way up to a title shot with Seth Rollins. I think being that Dean had the program with Rollins and lost a clean victory to him in the cage after basically almost winning the belt that one. I forget what pay per view that was, but I think you know what I'm talking about. I mean, they had a program. He lost decisively in the cage, and when Rollins comes back to say, "Hey, you've never really beaten me," would be the way that I would personally book it. But again, you really could go either way. But smart money for me, I'm having a feeling that they're going to build Reigns a little bit more and really see if they can get more fans behind it. Because after all, they do want him to be that next John Cena. And Dean Ambrose, in this case, would be the guy who kind of needs a little bit of a tweak because right now he's kind of in no man's land.
That's for sure. I mean, as I was saying earlier, he's my guy, and I would want him to be the champion. But as I said here on this program and last night on Main Event Marks, that if they're just going to have him as a temporary champion, just to have someone else go over, then don't do it, because I think he deserves a better. He deserves more than that. I think his reign would deserve more than that, and just being just a quick champion. If you are going to pull the trigger and have him become champion here at Survivor Series, then you have to at least have him be champion all the way to WrestleMania, in my opinion, if that's going to be the case. And if I don't see that in the cards, and I don't think that's what WWE is going to do, then maybe go with what's predictable. Because also what I was saying earlier is whether it's predictable and they go with Roman Reigns or someone out of left field like a Cesaro, KO, or Dean Ambrose becoming champion in Survivor Series, I'm going to be highly invested and highly interested. I kind of was bringing it up to of
Wow.
and then
Imagine,
everything.
you
Yeah,
imagine Kevin Owens as the champ. Oh my God. The internet would go ballistic if that was to happen, my friend. Let me tell you something.
I think they would go as equal or even more ballistic if it was Cesaro, because he's the internet darling.
There's a lot of internet darlings out there, and you know what's funny is all these internet
True,
darlings,
true.
all like top former Ring of Honor guys. You know what I mean? I mean your Cesaros, your DBs. I mean anybody I talk to on the internet refuses to call Owens Owens. They call him Steen. You know, there's always got to be that guy, the troll, who has to call Daniel Bryan Dragon or has to call Cesaro Claudio. You know what I mean? It's just like, ugh, get over yourselves.
I know, because I've even seen or memes or pictures or whatever they're called on the Marks group of in past pay per views of matchups and using their old names in their own whatever they've created. Those are kind of weird or interesting, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean there. But I think, in my opinion, like I said, I think it would be Twitter and everything would explode more if it was Cesaro than if it was Kevin Owens being champion. You did bring something up interesting about you thinking Debray is going to come back. In my opinion, I think it's more likely he's going to have to retire, whether forced or he came to the conclusion himself. Because even if he does come back, A, I don't see him in this tournament. B, I don't see him close or sniffing the WWE World Heavyweight Championship anymore, because him, almost like a Dolph Ziggler in a sense, just labeled injury prone, and they don't want a chance that they don't want to go through that again, especially with something with just happened with their current champion Seth Rollins. So do you think if Debray ever does come back that he could become WWE World Heavyweight Champion, or do you think it's just not
I
in the cards?
that's an interesting concept, and it's funny you say that because I mean, if the internet darling was to win, what? Because you know Triple H loves to piss off the marks and the internet fans. You know this, right?
Yeah, he
How
even does it
hard,
sometimes in his promos.
right? How hard would he laugh and would you laugh if Daniel Bryan wins this tournament by the hair of his chinny chin chin, so to speak, right?
Hmm.
And then lose the belt again to another Money in the Bank winner and get beaten up so badly that he can't have the rematch clause. So I think if Daniel Bryan has to retire, let him go out on his own terms. He kind of he deserves it. Let him win the belt at Survivor Series, and then put the belt on Sheamus that night and have him pummel him so badly that it would be believable that he can't come back. I think it's a great idea, personally. But
Oh,
what can I say? I'm a mark for myself, and I think I'm the greatest booker in the world.
well, aren't we all at times? But no, I can see that. But also, I was thinking, to make it even worse, especially to the fans of Debray, you have him win the title, and he, gets another cash in. But in the same way, Triple H hits him with a pedigree, and then Sheamus bro kicks him a couple of times or something, and gets the title just the same way, Orton did in a way, when Triple H did that. Because now then you would have Sheamus as part of the Authority. All these plans of someone new joining the Authority because of Seth's injury. It just seems like maybe that's the route it is. Now the question only then becomes who's going to be that new guy? Who's going to be the new guy in the
Or is there
Authority?
going to be a new guy, Coplin? I mean,
You
Copley. Let me
think?
ask you this. I mean, because we heard the reports earlier today that they're asking Cena and Lesnar to see if they would be willing to come in, and I'm like, I don't think Cena's going to come in, but I think if you pay the right amount of F money, Brock Lesnar is really ready, willing, and able, so to speak, to uh, to really do the deed and either. Because I mean, if 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 you really don't have a long term plan for that belt right now, who better to put it on in this case than Lesnar, who's a part timer? Who you're not going to have to worry about him getting hurt at house shows. You don't have to worry. You save him for those big matches. And you know what? I miss those old days where title matches really only happened on pay per views. And I mean, you're talking in the days where there were only 4 pay per views. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it kind of loses its prestige when it's, to me anyway. I think a title match should be special. I mean, you don't see UFC guys defending their titles monthly. You see them defending them twice, maybe 3 times a year, tops. Boxers, I mean, the older a boxer gets, I mean, Mayweather, we only used to see him fight maybe twice a year. You know what I'm saying? So it's more
Mhm.
believable to put a belt on somebody who's a special attraction anyway, and then make that title match special.
Oh, I see that. To be honest, if it is just a temporary thing, maybe I think the number one bet would be John Cena, being the champion. I know a lot of people, and me, who's part of our main event marks group now, might not be the biggest fan of that idea. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, he might kill me for saying that too.
I can't assume things. Maybe he could understand it in a way, but just thinking that I think that could be the best option if John would be willing and able to come back with whatever the scheduling is for his taping of his reality show on Fox Network and that stuff, and be able to be part of this tournament and win it and still be able to work the dates that he would have to then defend this title of his now. Unless then again the plan is all along for Sheamus to be champion. But I still go into thinking that Sheamus should, whenever he cashes in, be unsuccessful. Now something else that I was talking about
Believe
earlier.
that because I mean, you're talking about something that only happens once a year, which is this Money in the Bank thing, and you're basically touting that as yes, this is going to be your next champion. I mean, that's kind of a big deal, And then for an unsuccessful cash in, it kind of, to me, diminishes that prize. But then I could also say that, you could say that, but then, the winner of the Royal Rumble is supposed to get a title shot. And if they don't win it, it's kind of a waste of the Rumble. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways of looking at things. And again, being the crazy marks that we are, we really tend to overanalyze things. But, what are you going to do?
Right, because I was already thinking that's why sometimes I don't like when they have matches. I think it was even back when Mr. Kennedy was the Money in the Bank holder, and he lost it in a match for his briefcase against Edge or someone, I think, or
Why
whatever.
did
That
he
they had
lose
those type of matches.
that because of the wellness violation? Did he lose that because he got injured?
I from
It
my
was
thoughts,
one
I
of the
thought it was
two.
more on the wellness side than the injury side.
No, it was the injury side. He
Hmm.
lost. You know what big storyline he lost due to the
Hmm.
wellness violation was being the son of McMahon when they were trying to figure out who Vince McMahon
Oh, that's
had,
right. Yeah.
and then they had to put Hornswoggle on that.
But no, I was just bringing that up because I don't understand why they would even do that, and why book that person to then win the Money in the Bank tournament. Whatever. That just made you yourself look stupid in the in my eyes towards WWE creative, in that
Do you
kind of
think
way.
in the Kennedy situation that they should have waited then? Because I mean, you're saying it diminishes the prize because they had to give the briefcase to somebody or have him cash it in. Do you think they should have had him cash it in unsuccessfully and then go away, or do you think they should have waited for him to come back and let him keep it, or was the smart move to bring it to Edge?
I guess. I mean, contradict myself. I can understand why they, what happened, why they did it, yada yada. Edge. Then he cashed in because maybe the plan was for the Money in the Bank holder to cash it in successfully, and especially being heels. But I would rather have had him cash in and be unsuccessful than have him be able to keep the title during his or keep his briefcase during the injury and then cashing in successfully afterwards. And anything else, I don't know. I just want whoever actually wins Money in the Bank or the Royal Rumble. I mean, the Royal Rumble winner doesn't have to become champion at WrestleMania, but they still have to get their title shot in some way. The Money in the Bank holder, cash in some way. Even though I would like to see one time, whether it's now with Sheamus or in the future, a Money in the Bank holder getting all the way to the point to the next Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I don't think it'll ever happen, but me being the mark that I am and a WWE fan that I am, thinking too much, rambling about thoughts, but thinking that maybe that would be interesting. I know for me it would be intriguing if they went that route with a Money in the Bank holder, to have it all the way to that time, having even a clock, kind of like the Bellatron for when Nikki Bella was going to break AJ Lee's record,
Oh
but
yeah.
but for a better reason and purpose. But
How
no,
cool would
no,
it
that.
be? Hate to cut you off, but how cool would it be if we expanded on that idea, right?
Mhm.
He They have to cash in a year, right? So a year to the day, he cashes in Money in the Bank, whoever this person is, right?
Mhm.
At the end of the title fight, after also having a match himself, only to lose it to this year's winner of the Money in the Bank, or that person who would win the Money in the Bank that night. Or imagine a triple threat because two people decided to cash in at the same time.
See, I would just want to see that for the unpredictability, unpredictabilityness of it, because let's say you do have a Money in the Bank holder. Let's say it's Tyler Breeze, 2016 Money in the Bank holder, and let's say we get into 2017 and he's still having that briefcase. What will happen? What's going to happen on the Raw before or the Raws we're leading up to 2017 Money in the Bank? Will um, Tyler Breeze have to relinquish it so then they can raise it again for Money in the Bank the upcoming? Will he automatically be in the match? Will it be they have the regular ladder style and then they would have to go one on one with Breeze because he still technically had it? You know what? That unpredictability in this to me would be very intriguing if they ever. And like I said, I don't think they will, but if they ever did, would would be would be awesome in my opinion if they ever thought that, because that would be something different, something legendary in a way too. Something that would never be forgotten kind of situation as well. If they ever did that with a Money in the Bank, excuse me, Money in the Bank holder. But one thing I was trying to get back to earlier was about with this tournament. Do you think, or how do you think this tournament should be? Should it be solely on Survivor Series or starting this Monday on Raw?
I think they should have qualifying matches, but have the actual tournament on the pay per view. I think it should be. I liked your idea yesterday because you said 6 or 8 guys, but I'm thinking like the NCAA bracket where you have to have 8. So when you have 4 winners from that match, and then going down to 2, If you
Hmm.
did six, it would be cool because then these guys would only have to have two matches because you would have three matches to the finals and then a triple threat match, which would be really, really cool and really different.
Yeah, and that's why even I said here earlier that, I would love to see, 12, 14 superstars in this thing, but, that's not going to happen because other superstars are in other programs, and it might just dilute the tournament in itself. Because you have, not only do you have the superstars that are going to be part of the traditional Survivor Series, which will leave 8 to 10, already there, and you just can't pluck superstars from the lower mid card like, like a Zack Ryder, Heath Slater, Jack Swagger, Heath Slater, Jack Swagger, and superstars like that to be part of the tournament just because you want extra bodies and have more people in that tournament. Like I said, it might just dilute it. If you have 10 to 12, is even though I would find it entertaining, I can also see the negative side. So an 8 is a nice round number, a nice firm firm one to go with, and I'm sure WWE will go with that. I'm just really intrigued and looking forward to just seeing at least how things happen, especially with the first segment of Raw. Seeing what is announced, if anything's announced, if before Raw is only teased or tweeted out by Triple H or something about announcements are going to be made and stuff like that. Obviously, promoting to people to be able to watch in the first hour and trying to keep them there,
Well, with
sort
that
of thing.
news, I guarantee you Raw has a spike in ratings because whenever something drastic like this happens, people are like, "Oh shit, something different's finally going to happen." And then, let me, so this could be a blessing in disguise. And again,
And
I say
that's exactly where I was going to go. But you can continue.
like I said, it's really a blessing in disguise. But best wishes to Seth Rollins. I hope he comes back soon and stronger than before because that guy is just incredible in the ring. Um, Let me ask you this: if you had to pick six guys for the tournament, three three matches, and the winners go to a triple threat for the title,
Hmm.
who would you pick for the six guys?
Okay. For the six guys, for the six guy style kind of thing, I would have Kevin Owens, Alberto Del Rio, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Dolph Ziggler, and Cesaro as my six WWE superstars.
Wow. See, I'm a little bit greedy when it comes to people who I would want in my tournament. I'm a sick man. You know this, Coplin. You know I'm a crazy guy. So I would say, give me Kevin Owens, give me Brock Lesnar. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I was just muting myself so I could let you talk.
My phone is cutting out over here. It's crazy. I'm on my mobile device.
Hmm.
So give me Kevin Owens, give me Brock Lesnar, give me Daniel Bryan, give me Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and a sixth guy. Who do I want as my sixth guy? You know who I want for my sixth guy? And I really can't believe I'm going to say this. But give me The Undertaker.
Hmm.
Guy's on his last run. We're in an emergency situation. What better way for him to have a retirement match at WrestleMania as the champion?
And then maybe even putting someone young over like a Roman Reigns or a Kevin Owens or someone like that, and in a way passing the torch and them being the champions moving forward. I think that'd be awesome. I just don't think that they're going to go that way because he's in a feud with the Wyatt family, and I think trying to think WWE way, thinking that they invested in wanting to do this feud and the 25 celebrating 25 years of the Undertaker, because he debuted Survivor Series and all that jazz and stuff. That I don't see them pulling him out of that feud in that Survivor Series traditional match,
That's
because
why
that's what Survivor Series is. Because then what are they going to do with the traditional match? Who then are they going to put in that place to then feud with the Wyatt family? And as much as they can do it random, it just won't seem as interesting, at least to me personally. Maybe to someone else, whatever, depending on how it's booked. But to me, it just wouldn't seem organic or interesting if they just put the Undertaker in and then they just had some other people randomly with in that tradition. So that's a whole nother stack of dominoes to fall if that was the case. There in the writing room, if you do put the Undertaker in this tournament and actually have him win. Now, as
Here,
Undertaker being my favorite superstar, I would want that. I just don't see that.
here's why I say they might do it. We've seen WWE abandon storylines out of nowhere many times, and in a classic example, and again, I am the Chris Benoit mark, but after the whole Chris Benoit incident, I mean, they abandoned the Vince McMahon dying in the blown up limousine storyline.
Hmm.
Um, just kind of stopped out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So it's not unheard of, and in an emergency situation like this, um, you can't really rely on creative. But this is where I do have faith in Vince because desperate times come for desperate measures, and in a time like this, it's a great opportunity again for them to gain some traction, gain some ratings, and maybe do something that'll please the fans for a change. Because I think a lot of people are tired of having a heel for a champion. I think they're really tired of seeing John Cena on top, and I think they're really tired of having Roman Reigns crammed down their throat. I mean, again, it really depends what market they're in per week because it's either all or nothing for Roman Reigns. He either gets booed out of the building or he gets cheered to the hilt. It all depends. But I think for the most part, people might not like the fact that they would put the belt on Taker, but I think they would respect it just in a sense where it's like, hey, this is this guy's last run, and you don't see too many guys go out losing a title match for their final match because I think this will be Taker's last match. And if they do that and somebody beats him at WrestleMania for the belt, it really puts that next guy over, and it's building towards the future, which is in this situation. Let's be honest. I mean, you have no John Cena. Brock Lesnar's not there. Credo brought this point up last night. This is a problem for them. They are not building stars. They're keeping guys who could have been stars as mid card guys. I mean, your Dolph Ziggler. I mean, Alberto Del Rio is basically designated as a U.S. champion, which is still a mid card guy.
Hmm.
Who besides Roman Reigns have you been building? Because you have Sheamus as your Money in the Bank winner, and he is not being booked as somebody who should be dominant for somebody who is potentially going to be a champion at some point within the next couple of months. So it's you build towards the future, and it really is the perfect way to say goodbye to Undertaker and put a new generation over.
Yeah, I would love to see that, but like I said, the same breath, I don't see WWE pulling him from the Survivor Series traditional match because I just wonder where then they would go with that and how um, it's like I said, scrambling. Because like I said, in the beginning of the show, actually, I would hate to be part of the writing team right now, trying to, not just plan out for Survivor Series, but you now have to map out, feuds and storylines and situations, and obviously for the title, the title one, all the way to
That's
WrestleMania, because this impacts not just right now, it impacts all the way to WrestleMania season.
right, but you know what? Right now is the time where you can really start fresh because you're saying that you have to build storylines and all that kind of stuff right now. You don't need to be doing that right now because this is the perfect opportunity for you to hit the reset button and say, okay, we have a pay-per-view that we know people are going to want to see because we're going to crown a new champion. We don't need to write feuds. We don't need this because it's a tournament style. It writes itself. I mean, a
Hmm.
tournament. We don't need Dolph Ziggler and Rusev because they're feuding over Lana. We don't need miniature storylines in this tournament. The tournament itself is the story, and there you go. I mean, you hit that reset button, and you're like, okay, this is what we're doing for Survivor Series. This is who we could put the belt on. Now let's build from here. Suppose whoever we put that belt on Survivor Series or at Survivor Series, you now have what 2 months to pick the perfect opponent for him to win the Royal Rumble to meet him at WrestleMania. I mean, you probably had a long-term goal for Seth Rollins, and I don't think people really wanted to see Seth Rollins in the main event. I hate saying that because he's a great talent, but I don't think Seth Rollins as a champion, and I'm not taking away from his skills and his amazing in-work ability. You know, we've had shows on Raw. We've had the lowest ratings in the history of Raw.
Hmm.
And if you're having that and your main event is going to have Seth Rollins in it, look, Seth Rollins is one of the best, bar none, but he's not making money and he's not selling pay per views.
I wonder this too, with having more eyeballs to be now that we'll be watching SmackDown, even new people that could potentially become subscribers. When you're talking about hitting this whole reset button, it made me think that maybe they might even go more on the side of the unpredictableness, the ones that weren't highly picked to win the title. Like I said, the one being, the one everybody thinks is going to be, rubber stamped. Everybody's already predicting it to be Roman Reigns, and I understand why. But maybe, just maybe, with it being a tournament style, the whole reset button, yada yada, might get new subscribers. Showing that anything can happen in WWE on any given night, and you gotta watch to see what happens and all that other stuff. That maybe a KO or the lunatic fringe Dean Ambrose, becomes WWE World Heavyweight Champion. They deserve it. I'm not trying to say this and like they don't deserve it, and that's why it would be unpredictable. It's just unpredictable because WWE doesn't seem like they want to push these guys, even though they should.
It's true.
And it just I don't know. It just irritates me a little bit when we get into that subject because they really effed themselves up by not pushing these superstars like a Cesaro and others, and now they're in this pickle in this position because of what they didn't do. Because even a non-action is an action within itself.
It's a fair point.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm thinking too much of it, but it just irritates because it's just you would think they already would know that they're the WWE, they're $1 million corporation, they're this, they're that. They have smart people at the top there with Paul Triple H, Levesque, Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon, yada yada. The list goes on. If they would understand this and they would know this, and that's why NXT's what NXT is being awesome in their own branding right. That and then they would easily be able to allocate that to the main roster and their superstars there and trying to push them and have superstars there that can pick up the slack if someone gets injured because stuff happens. People get injured. Yes, WWE, Pro Wrestling Sports Entertainment, this is scripted, but you still, excuse me, it still takes athleticism. It still takes strength, and it still takes that ring prowess and wrestling ability to be a WWE superstar, WWE diva. Just ask the many that went through the camps there at that NXT, the training camps or the tryouts or whatever. That stuff isn't easy. It's a lot harder than you think. So, and that kind of thinking that they should have done that now that they didn't, now they're in this pickle, and now that's why this is the talk of the WWE nation of the WWE universe. That because they didn't do that, now they're sitting here looking at each other, going, okay, so who are we going to have the champion? Who do you think? Who do you think?
Or yeah,
It's kind of an awkward situation, and in the end, it's their own fault. But no, what are your thoughts on my main point being that maybe because there might be more eyeballs to the product and to Survivor Series, and even potential new subscribers, they might go on the way of the out of nowhere becoming champion person like an Ambrose or a KO than the
let's be
predictable Reigns.
let's be really really honest. We are talking to all these fans right now, and what comes to mind is we have these great ideas, and we always talk about what we think could happen, what might happen. But let's be honest. Let's talk about what's really going to happen. All right.
Okay.
Wouldn't pop hard to see something different, and it's very rare that we actually see that. It's been a long time since they've really thrown us a holy s moment, so to speak. You know what I mean? And I want you to give me my props, Kathleen, because I've gone this whole time so far. I have not dropped one curse word. You don't know how hard that is for me. That's respect to you, brother. But that being said, it's been a long time
I know it's hard.
since we have seen a really crazy curveball. I mean, the last one was Seth Rollins turning on the Shield. I mean, that kind of threw me for a loop. Even though we did kind of see it coming, but you really weren't too sure what was going to happen. If I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see typical generic lazy WWE booking, and I guarantee you, the following Thursday on main event Marks, you're going to be sitting there complaining about, wow, we should know better that they were not going to do justice. We could talk about all the guys we'd love to see with the belt. I would love to see Taker with it. I would love to see Owens with it. I would love to see Cesaro with it. Hell, I'd love to see Brock Lesnar get another run at it. But you know what's going to happen? We're going to get John Cena or Roman Reigns, and that's just the bottom line because the angry one said so.
And I think if I had to go between those two, I would actually go with John Cena over Roman Reigns because I just have a funny feeling. I don't know, just me, but I have a funny feeling that they want to have Roman Reigns have his moment at WrestleMania. They want to build him, trying to garner that favor of the fans. That's why I think it might go on the way of a Sheamus cash in and then Sheamus versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. As I said last night on Main Event Marks, I do believe as well that then when Roman Reigns has his moment, then maybe he'd have more fanfare. Maybe that would work. Maybe it won't. Maybe most of the smart marks might still poo-poo on him, but whatever. I wouldn't. I'll give it just due if he does win it there, because then WWE at least gave it more time, and thought it through and had him get it at WrestleMania instead of just here at a tournament where, like you said, they could have pressed that reset button and then just, we're just going to give it to Reigns because he was supposed to be winning it anyways at WrestleMania. No, you keep those plans, you just alter them and tweak them a little bit because, like you even said, previously, plans change, things change. It's the nature of the beast, the nature of the business in WWE. So just tweak it a little bit and have maybe, like I said, a Sheamus or someone else. I would actually want to see, even though, again, like you said, we want these things to happen. It probably won't. But what I would want to see is a couple NXT superstars getting called up just for this tournament, just to be part of it, just to,
Imagine
and pay-per-view as well.
Huh?
What were we going to say?
I said, imagine somebody like a Sami Zayn makes a return and gets an opportunity, and we could put him in the first round against Kevin Owens, and we can have that feud all over again. I mean,
Well, that's why it sucks that Hideo is not
they
in
could
the picture.
Let's be honest. There's a lot of things that they're not going to do, Copleen. And that being said, I hate to do this to you, but I have to bid thee farewell. I am working 5:30 in the morning tomorrow, as always, getting that F money like my man Virgil. So thanks for having me on, and
Well, thanks for stopping by.
I'll see you real soon, brother.
All right, take care.
Angry Cooter, the social assassin, checking out. Good night.
Yeah, thanks to Mr. Cooter being here. You can check him out on Main Event Marks every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern on YouTube. Their channel is within my channel. They're on the right side, and I have it there under channels that I'm a part of. And you can also follow him on Twitter specifically at angry_Cooter. Again, that is angry_Cooter to follow him. Very smart individual and very kind of him. To be on the special edition of Steve's Wrestling Ramble. I do appreciate it by him. But, just, back on topic, back on thinking of what they should do, how they should do, and he's right. Cooter was right that, us as WWE fans, the WWE Universe, we might overthink things. We might think we're smarter than WWE. And some of us, from what I've seen in other YouTube videos and other podcasts in general, are just a little bit smarter than WWE creative. But sometimes you have to think like WWE. Sometimes you have to just realize and see that writing on the wall. See what's going to happen, whether we want it, whether we complain about it, whether we don't like it, whether we tweet to Triple H about it, about being upset. Why did you do this? Why is this? Why this? Why that? Well, they do it because they think it's best for business. They think it's what should happen and will happen, and as too bad as it is, as not thinking outside the box as that is, sometimes that's almost sometimes is almost a better way, because then you're thinking more in the business mind, more in the WWE mind, more serene in that way. So if we just think about this, if we just think about this in the WWE way, then then we should know that Roman Reigns will be the one winning this tournament. Roman Reigns will be the next WWE World Heavyweight Champion. If not him, John Cena. So don't be surprised if you hear John Cena's music on Raw, or John Cena's name announced on Raw by Triple H, by the Authority, promoting Survivor Series. Kind of like how they, I forget what pay-per-view it was, but they were promoting matches. I think it was before SummerSlam, and they had it on the Titantron. Or maybe they're promoting matches for Survivor Series for this tournament. Who's going to be in it? How many individuals are there? Maybe they might not say, like, this tournament will consist of 8 WWE superstars, and then they'll say no. Maybe they'll just say the matches, and obviously you'll know by how many matches there are, how many superstars are in it. Basic math there. Maybe that's how they'll announce it. And don't be surprised if you see on that Titantron the smiling face of John Cena. Okay, I just want to let everybody know out there, whether you love John Cena or you hate John Cena or you're indifferent on John Cena, even though there's actually fewer of those than the latter, the extremities of hating and loving. Even though there is such a middle ground, it does exist. But anyways, I don't want to upset anybody, but don't be surprised to see him. Don't be surprised to see him being announced. Don't be surprised to see him when the pay-per-view comes here in November. Don't even be surprised if he is the next WWE World Heavyweight Champion. How I've talked about, the internet, Twitter, we go crazy in a good way if KO, Cesaro, or Dean Ambrose win the title. Well, I'm sure the internet will go crazy on both sides, good and bad, if John Cena was not only in this tournament to crown a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but won the tournament to become WWE World Heavyweight Champion. You never know, guys. Our guys and gals, you just never know. And we'll have to see how it goes on Raw. We'll have to see how this this builds heading into Survivor Series. But like I said, my hope, as a fan, is Dean Ambrose. My pick already is going to be Roman Reigns. But we'll see. You never know. WWE could have something up their sleeve, especially if they go with the idea of the whole reset button, as my guest here did explain eloquently earlier. Maybe that's the case. If you want to let me know your thoughts on what you think of Seth Rollins' injury, how this impacts WWE, and everything else discussed here in this episode, you're more than welcome to leave a comment in the comment section below this video. Welcome to follow me on Twitter at WB_podcast and check out any of my other videos here on my channel relating to pro wrestling, WB, or my NFL podcast, which I do every week, talking Packers with Steve, obviously also on this channel. You're welcome to subscribe to this channel, to be the first ones to know when I go live for any episode. And also more than welcome to join in the conversation, like I said, on Twitter, but also even in these live episodes themselves, because I hope to, since I will be having this show now weekly again, as it used to be back on Blog Talk Radio, its old home. Heck, on Blog Talk Radio, I used to have my podcast, Steve's Wrestling Ramble, 5 days a week with a theme for each day. So now it just went down to once a week. So, that is what it is. So, like I said, welcome to subscribe. Like I said, you'll be the first ones to know. In the email, you get an email when I go live. And welcome to watch any of my broadcasts about anything that interests you. Welcome to share this video and obviously likes help it grow, help it be quote unquote promoted, as I say, promoted in the right way, I guess, in that way, and to have people know about Steve's Wrestling Ramble, about Main Event Marks. Check out their content, like their videos, subscribe to their channel. Everything that you do here, do there as well, if you so choose to. But thank you to everybody that has watched live tonight. I greatly appreciate it, especially it being a random Saturday night. One that I kind of like an RKO out of nowhere. This episode almost came out of nowhere, and I think those that did watch live and those that will be watching in the archives, I greatly appreciate each and every one of you that watch. I hope you enjoyed it, and let your voices be heard on your thoughts of it and anything, like I said, anything brought up in the episode. So before I ramble too much on Steve's Wrestling Ramble, I'll bid you farewell and good evening. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy NFL, excuse me, NFL Sunday on Sunday, obviously. And I will see you all in the next video, next episode of Steve's Wrestling Ramble, or the next episode of Talking Packers with Steve. And take care.